We are going to finish regression with a calculator, the notes for it. I do want to look at something for you before we begin, though. Let's look at this real quick. We need to look at causation versus correlation. So we can decide whether it's just a correlation or if there's a cause and effect relationship. One in particular I want to look at is number of days absent from school and grades. So all of these are correlations, but not necessarily causation. It takes a lot to prove one causes another. So I want you to write out to the side here. Number of days absent from school and grades. Correlation without causation. Because what actually causes your grade to go down? Not studying, not doing your work. So if you're absent a lot and you don't do any of your work, that's what's going to cause your grades to go down. Not just being absent. I have some students who are absent all the time, but they take care of their business. They keep their grades up. It all comes down to, are you doing the work, and how good is the work that you're doing, that you're turning in? No. All right, so that's just a reminder. Not every correlation is causation. All right, so let's look at the notes that we did yesterday. The two examples inside. So as a reminder, you're going to clear out the memory in your calculator. You may have already done this. I have not put it in yet, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in. I would like for you to practice this. So let's go ahead and put it in again, even if you have already done it.
Teacher, sorry for this interruption, but I just want to let you know that the bells will be turned off today.
Everyone should be doing this with me. And before you do anything with it, you need to double check everything. 55 is with 340. 58 is with 335. 64 is with 410. 68 is with 460. 70 is with 450. 75 is with 610. 80 is 735. 84 is 780. Because if you accidentally mess up one of your numbers, then your equation and everything you do after that is not going to be right. Okay, so this was L1 and L2. You don't have to follow these exact, like the order of it. So it says make a scatter plot, but you can do the equation first. So to get the equation, we go to Stat, over to Calc, and what are we calculating? 4, which is called what? Linear regression. AX plus B. If you need to rewrite these, it might be a good idea because that's just a good way of getting it ingrained in your brain so that you remember. Okay, so push enter, calculate. Oh yeah. Let's do this first and then we'll come back to that. So A is, it tells us right here round to 2 decimal places. So 16.4, that 1 is going to go to a 2 because of the 6 behind it. And then B is negative 621.8. The 2 is going to go to a 3 because of the 6 behind it. So let's go ahead and write our equation down here. So it's AX plus B or MX plus B. So y equals 16.42x minus 621.83. We got to find the correlation coefficient. It did not give me the R value. So going back to what we did yesterday, remember we had to turn stat diagnostics on? Turn on stat. I'm just going to put D-I-A-G. Turn on stat diagnostics. So when it doesn't give you the R, which it won't, unless you have it on. So remember we go mode, go down to stat diagnostics, turn it on. So I'm putting reminders over here to the side. Turn on. Now go second quit to get out of there. Don't clear your memory. If you clear your memory, it won't work. Second quit will get you out of any program or tool or anything like that. Do second quit. Now go back to stat, over to calculate. Number 4 for linear regression. Enter. Now it adds the R squared of R. The only one we care about is R. So correlation coefficient, R. We're going to round this to 3 decimal places. So R is 0.967. So about 96.7% of the data is close to that line. That's kind of a way of thinking of it. So now we need to graph it. So to graph, to make a scatter plot, you do stat plot. Y'all remember what the tool is for stat plot? Where do I go to plot this on a graph? Second y equals. See how that blue, it says stat plot? That means you are plotting what's in your stat that we put in. You need to turn it on. Turn on. On, and then you don't have to change anything else. You could change your mark, you could change your color if you want. Oh yeah, you could. You could go down to 5 plots on. I didn't think about that. And then push enter. Yeah. Okay, now we want to graph, but we can't see anything. The reason we can't see anything is because our window isn't set up correctly. It only has 10 each way. That's as zoomed in as it is. So we go zoom, and which function do we do for zoom? Zoom 9. 9, which is zoom stat. So look at our graph. So if you have this stray point somewhere, I suggest checking stat to make sure you did your L1 and L2 correctly. All right, so the next thing, put equation in y equals. So go to y equals, let's put that equation in. 16.42x minus 621.83. All right, so let's hit graph again and check out our line. So that looks pretty good. If our line wasn't even close to it or you don't even see it, Double check that you entered the right one in. All right, we're going to make a scatter plot on here. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to kind of tilt my line the way it kind of looks. And then plot some points on it. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just in the general direction. That's what I drew. So it's just a sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to come around and check your calculators. Make sure that you have that in. Great. So I have all those notes to the side. You found your stack calculator. You need to write all those notes out to the side and follow them. Check y'all's. Good. You haven't done it. You see yours, Jonathan? Okay, you got it on. You need to put your equation in there. Go to y equals and put the equation in. Oh, that's how it this one. You need to go to y equals and put the equation in. Right there. That was good. Okay, the last step is to answer question D. It says use the model to predict soft drink sales if the temperature is 95 degrees. Yeah, you could change it out for X. So you could do this two ways. You could plug in 95 for X and then find out what it equals by using this, or you could use the table because we already have it graphed, right? Or you could use the graph too. Okay, I want to show you. So stop what you're doing right now and watch the screen so I can show you how you can use the table. So I want to go to the table and I want to know when X is 95. I could scroll, but that's going to take forever. I've taught y'all a shortcut. Do you remember? It's kind of like you're setting up your window, but you're setting up your table. So look at that function. Table set. You do second window. And it says table start. I want to start it at 95. And then hit second table again. And see what it did? It took, instead of scrolling, it found where X is 95. The Y value is 938.07. Yeah, it was second window. Second window, which is called table set. And change your starting point. So use the model to predict soft drink sales if the temperature is 95 degrees. If the temperature is 95 degrees, the sales are 938 cans sold. The other way, if you don't want to use the table, I can clear this out. I would just go and plug in x right here. So 16.42 times 95 minus 621.83. I'm just substituting in the value of x. Comes out to the same thing. Those are your two methods. Okay, I want you to do example 2 now. So clear out your memory before you begin. Second plus 712. So follow the same steps. Hopefully you have this written down. If you don't, you need to write it down because I'm about to move it away from there. So I'm going to pause the video.
How do you get the line?
Let's look at it together. I've already put mine in. So now I'm going to follow all the steps. So I'm going to hit second quit to get out of it. I need to turn on the mode because I want to see the R value. So mode, you have to do this every time, especially after you clear out your memory. It puts it back to off. Turn the stat diagnostics on. That was under mode. Then hit second quit to get out of there. Stat, over to calc, and we want to do linear regression. So it gives us that the A is 4.7. We're going to round that 1. It's going to have to go up to a 2. And then B is negative 8,926.17. So the calculator gives us the equation. And the correlation coefficient is R, so I can go ahead and put that down. Now I'm going to make a scatter plot with the data. So I need to turn on stat plot. So second, y equals. I want to turn plot 1 on. Then I'm going to hit graph. I can't see anything though. So I have to zoom stat. Zoom down to number 9. Now I can actually see it. It's kind of like a little wave thing going on here. Then put in the equation to y equals. This is how you put the line on there. You put the equation in y equals and then hit graph again. So we didn't actually have to make a scatter plot on this one. The next question is use the model to predict the average. So we could either do the table and go down to 2001 or plug in 2001 for X. So remember with the table, if we want to use the table, we would go to table, but then change table set, table start to be 2001. And then go back to the table. And it's 518.55 acres. Average acres. Okay, you're going to glue this in your journal. On page 85. And then I'm going to pass out your assignment.